Okay, so let's start. We are going to have most probably a little bit more people here today. We've got quite a lot on our agenda, so I'm going to start moving. So first of all, welcome to DevOps Meetup. My name is Kaminski, and together with Willie, with Ilse and Martin, I'm co-organizer of this event. And we are doing those events on a monthly basis, or at least we try, except December or summer months where people are on vacation. And this is the first one in 2024. So first of all, let's start about what is the DevOps about. So first of all, it is about the community, creating a community of people who are interested in DevOps, and either bringing DevOps to their organizations, or implementing, facing challenges when implementing DevOps, but also about technology. So we are always trying to cover those topics. Today's event is slightly different than usual, and because we've got one organization that is going to do that. But again, first, what is DevOps? Most probably you put 4 people in the room, you have 5 different opinions and definitions what DevOps is. The one which I like is combination of culture, automation, lean processes, measures, and ability to recover quickly. And it's a combination. Everything starts with culture, by the way. Today's event is sponsored by 2 organizations. So we've got the SI Systems today and WorkSafeBC. And I would like to ask Neha to just introduce SI Systems.
Thank you, Andre. All right, I wrote this down because I can memorize this. Give me one more second. All right, well, hello everyone. Most of you I met at the registration in the front, but I just quickly wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today, and it's so nice to see you all in person and in flesh. My name is Neha, as you guys already know, and I would like to introduce my colleagues that you may have met in the front. My managing director, Suzanne, I think many of you already know her. She's been managing as account executive, then as a leader for a long, long time. And we have Camille, who's behind the scenes, helps recruit for all the roles that come out of WorkSafeBC. And then we have Maria here as well, who's all operations, and I am the account executive that supports and takes care of WorkSafeBC. So, and now I'm getting out of breath. I need to work out. All right. So SI Systems, as you guys know, has been trusted contingent staffing partner of WorkSafeBC for the past 20 years. And just wanted to say that we are very fortunate and proud to be here today as co-sponsors. We are delighted to be a part of a meetup and the transformative world of DevOps. And at SI Systems, we understand the pivotal role that talent plays in the success of DevOps initiatives. Whether you're a job seeker or a talent seeker, we are here. And we're connecting skilled workers to the meaningful matches. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The other organization is WorkSafeBC, and I'm going to introduce Stefan in a moment, who's representing us, our organization. And I say you us because I'm actually in an interesting position today. I am not only organizer, well, we are doing this since 2017, this event, but I'm also one of the speakers, and I'm also director of DevOps at WorkSafeBC. So I'm just playing like 3 roles at the same time. So first of all, I would like to introduce what WorkSafeBC is. This is one of our sponsors and what the organization is. So Stefan, could I ask you to actually introduce?
Absolutely.
And I've got a slide for you, actually, by the way. Thank you, everybody. Oh, you're too nice. No jokes tonight, I promise.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm Stefan. I'm part of the WorkSafeBC talent acquisition team. This is my first time at this event, and thank you, Andre, and the team for inviting me. And who's WorkSafe? Does anybody here know who WorkSafe is? I'm just curious. Who doesn't work for WorkSafeBC? That was the end of my sentence. Who doesn't work for WorkSafeBC? No? That's good. WorkSafeBC, I didn't know who we are when I first arrived to Canada 16 years ago. But when I found out when I came here, what I found that was really cool was that WorkSafeBC does the thing that the country I come from should have done and they didn't do, which is take care of employees in the workplace. And basically what that means is that we are a government agency, an insurance system that was mandated by the government over 100 years ago, and ultimately it's a safety net. A safety net for every employer in British Columbia. If anything happens to you in the in the workplace, injury, health issues, diseases, things like that, this insurance system ensures that you are supported while you're transitioning safely back to work if you're out of work for extended periods of time. That's what you do. That's what we do. Sorry. And as I mentioned, we've been around for over 100 years. We support well over 240,000 employers around British Columbia. As an organization, we've grown massively over the years. We have over 4,500 employees. The I&D division that's represented here today with Andre's team is over 600 employees and growing. We have many, many, many opportunities, and please come and talk to me. I'm going to be at the booth outside, mingling and talking to all of you. So that's who we are, and thank you for having us.
So we have three presentations today. I will kick off with my presentation, and until COVID hit, every year in January I was giving update about the state of DevOps at WorkSafeBC. When COVID hit, we stopped doing this, so this is the first one in 2024. The last one was, I think, 2021, so we had some dramas between 2021 and now, so it will be a great opportunity right now to talk about this. So that's just the hook, just to build up some expectations. So that's the first presentation. The second presentation will be about the cool stuff that our engineering teams are doing and what it means to empower the engineers. And the third one is the one which is probably the most important. It is the foundation of what DevOps is, which is a culture. I know that everybody thought tools, and automation. Well, you cannot build DevOps without the culture. Okay, so let me start with this presentation. I'm going to go back to 2017. As Stefan mentioned, we are currently 107 years old. 107. The organization was started in 1917. So as you can imagine, it's a very specific culture. It's not exactly a startup. Oh, you would never think about this, right? About an organization like this. But it obviously, in 2017, when we started implementing DevOps, the very first thing was exactly about the culture. How you change the culture. And one of the big challenges is that, and as Peter Drucker said, the culture eats strategy for breakfast every single time. And you cannot change. There's a lot of organizations that try to change and try to implement different initiatives, but actually many of those initiatives fail because of the culture. You can do processes, you can do a lot of stuff, but if the culture doesn't change, it's not going to work. What we had in 2017, we had a separation between the business and IT. And I think this goes across the board, everybody knows this. Like, business comes with an idea, and they just write requirements or ask about the requirements, they throw it over the fence to IT. And IT needs to figure out what to do with this without really understanding why we should build it. But okay, that's what our job is, so we do this, right? Then they spend, whatever, 8, 12, 14, 20 months building something, they throw it back to the business. Business looks at this and they say, that's not exactly what we wanted. Or, actually, it was what we wanted 2 years ago, but things changed. So this was a big challenge. The other thing we had, we've got monolithic systems, and this is a big challenge, a big problem. And again, it's not very unique that we had at WorkSafeBC. If you think about Amazon in 1997 was able to deploy to production, or they made about 100 deployments per year. In 2003, how many deployments they had to production? 24. 24. So why? Because they had monolithic systems, which means that the system over a period of time became so fragile that they were scared to introduce anything to production. As a matter of fact, small change to the shopping cart required coordination of 80 teams. And many of those teams said, well, that's fine, we would like to do that, but we don't have budget. Sounds familiar? Well, we were facing similar problems. So it's not only Amazon, not only WorkSafeBC there, I'm pretty sure that everybody can actually have their similar experience in their organizations. We had also tightly coupled environments. So you cannot build environment on demand. You have to run those environments all the time. We had a traditional planning and delivery processes with traditional PMO, very much project-oriented. We had a long delivery cycles, I said, like 14, 18 months as usual. We were siloed, and we're siloed within IT, and we're siloed within the business as well. And the other problem was also that we had ad hoc built teams. In other words, we actually brought people to work. And that should be opposite. We should actually bring the work to the teams. So that's where we were in 2017. So what's happened in June 2017? In June 2017, that's where we really started with DevOps. So the summit times were a little bit earlier, but that's where is actually the date when we really started working on DevOps. And one of the big challenges that I mentioned before is the culture. And WorkSafeBC in the past tried to implement many transformations, lean transformation and so on, and actually all of them failed. Well, not all of them, but many of them failed. And the reason was exactly because of the culture. 107 years, at the time in 2017 it was exactly 100 years old, right? So you cannot just go and suddenly change like this. And you cannot even talk about this, right? You cannot just explain, because culture is not something that you can easily define. It's our behaviors, and we cannot explain why we behave like this. Everybody is doing this like this, but that's what the culture is. How we change that? By saying, stop looking like this, or stop dressing like this. It's not going to change. So it's different approach that is required. And that's what we did. So our leadership decided, okay, let's create a bubble. And it's a little bit controversial, I know. But let's create a bubble and hire people who have no connections, who have no background. They never worked in this organization. They don't know the processes. They don't know what is not allowed. So that's what we did. We actually started hiring people. You see this first pod that was created, the first team, consisted of those roles. The only person who was from WorkSafeBC original was a product owner. And this product owner, by the way, was a business manager who had no clue what IT is about. And the business engineer, that's like an agile business analyst. And the reason why we put business engineer in this team, because the product owner from the business didn't know how to write the user stories. So we needed someone who actually helped to actually do this. Then we had a Scrum Master, we got 4 developers, and we had 1 QA engineer. We don't have testers. No testers. And honestly speaking, any organization that has testers, whatever they say, and they call themselves agile, they are not agile, I can tell you now. The testers creates many waterfall. So the role of the QA engineer was not testing. The QA is responsibility of our entire team. QA engineer responsibility is to automate tests and also provide guidelines about quality to the team. That's what the role is, or at least supposed to be. And I can tell you what's happened. After the first 3 days, the product owner came to me at the time. By the way, she had 25 years experience at WorkSafeBC working with the business. She never worked before in IT. And she came to me and she said, Andre, I can't take it. I have absolutely no idea what these guys are talking about in the stand-up meetings. Seriously, I told her, please, just persevere a little bit. 2 months later, she was explaining to me what APIs this team was building. Seriously. And some of you need English people, so it's not, I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up. Her boss, actually, at a certain point, he told me he was supposed to retire. He decided not to retire. He delayed his retirement by 3 years. And he told me, you know what? I'm the most happy when she is on vacation. Because I am there with the team and I'm telling them what needs to be done and we are interacting, I'm moving the cards and I see this stuff. I see actually what I'm getting. So this was really exciting. We started actually building this, we broke those silos. We actually broke, there was no more business and IT. We were together in this. And as a matter of fact, if I was upset, the business was defending the team. So anyway, by end of 2017, we had already 5 pods, and at the time, the team started complaining that, oh, we don't know what the other teams are doing, so we will need to collaborate a little bit closely. So the first thing that we did was a scrum of scrums, obviously, and as we grew further, we adopted Scale Agile framework to help us with collaboration, coordination of the processes. We also had a breaking silo. So we had a product, as I mentioned, we had a product from the business. We had also cross-pod services. So these were like infrastructure engineers, cloud infrastructure engineers, or DBAs, solution architects, and so on. So we had actually assigned one of them for 2 pods or for 3 pods, depending on. And this was a great thing that we did. Within, I would say, 6 months or so, we rolled back this model, and it was a big mistake. Because then those services became more like a service delivery without really understanding the context. We are just going back to the original model at this point. And one of the really great things that really worked very well, and I would really advise anybody who is implementing DevOps, is to provide and create clarity. Everybody really needs to understand. So in our case, this was Agile flavor document. And you know, at this point, Agile became almost like a religion. If you think about this, there is a lot of trainings and there is a lot of certificates, and you know, and unless you do exactly as I say, then you are not Agile. You shall do in this. And I'll be honest with you, that's everything is not really. Okay, I don't want to use this word, but anyway. So why I say this? Because Agile Manifesto consists of only 4 statements. Only 4 statements. And there's 12 Agile principles. That's it. Everything else are best practices. So it doesn't matter, your certifications, you know, are not really important. If you don't really internalize those 4 statements, everything else is not really important, right? It's not really Agile. So this is an example of the document. And why I'm actually talking about this document? Because every organization is different. Every organization has a different culture. So you need to have some explanation what actually Agile means in your organization. Because it's different. It might be different depending on where you are. So this was exactly what makes us unique and what you missed in Agile training. That was this document was about. So here, for example, there's a couple of slides from this document. So this one is about talking about the principles. The principles are like lighthouses. Or you can ignore them, but you're going to get into the trouble. And you might not like them, but they are there. That's what it is. And again, it's really important that entire DevOps and Agile is really state of mind. That's really the part of the culture. So we've got also some statement that explain what it actually means. What is the state of mind we want to have with WorkSafeBC? We also explain the hierarchy of our items that we deliver, but that's not so important. What is really important to understand which of those bring the business value, because not all of them do. And that again is not really taught in any of those many of those courses, right? Then the next step what we did was to implement the DevOps strategy. Now this was pretty long, large document, but again, what we tried to do, we tried to map to those 4, 5 areas, which is culture, automation, lean processes, measures, and recovery. And we want to we want to actually start measuring this. Where are we? What's our maturity levels? So the very first thing what we did actually define what type of measures we are going to have. So what maturity we are going to have. So starting from crawl through walk, run, and fly. The next step was we defined for each of those, and then for each of those areas, like culture and so on, what it means to be on this particular maturity level. So each of those had their own statements. And then what we did, every quarter, we are meeting and reviewing each of those where we are on what stage we are. We could see where are the gaps, where are the biggest gaps, and then where we're focusing on. We try to improve those particular areas. And you can see this is actually showing how we were progressing over the years. And you can see we started with very low and then going up further and further. So we could see that we did quite a lot of progress there. And that's how we did. So there's a lot of things that were happening. Again, because the organization at the time was 100 years old, for us it was a big shift completely when we first time deployed to production during office hours. Well, usually for years, well maybe not 100 years, but for at least 30 years, the production deployments were happening on Fridays between 7 and 10. When nobody's working and the customer's not there. But the problem is that the team is not there, right? If something goes wrong, then everybody needs to work during the weekend. What's the best way actually to address this if doing this during the office hours where the team is there on-prem, where they can actually fix issue when they happen? But there was a lot of other things that we did at the time. We had the first dark launch. We had actually one of the teams that deployed to production first time, twice within one sprint. Well, it was like a big, huge thing for us, for an organization like this, big one. We got also, in one of the areas during the peak period, we got a freezes, where you're not allowed to deploy anything because our customers, our stakeholders actually are accessing our sites and so on. The business, and those people I was talking about, the product owners and product and the business people, became so comfortable that they allowed us to actually do the production release during the freeze. So this definitely started changing the culture of the organization. Oh, and not to mention hackathon, right? Okay, well, the very first thing what I mentioned in 2018, okay, we want to do hackathon. So the answer I got was, no, and the reason was, first of all, you're the public sector organization, so no fun. And secondly, we are a security-oriented organization, no hacking. Right, okay, but we are able to actually do this, right? So we cut the red tape and we are able to move and make the progress. I'm not going to talk about this in detail, there's a lot of other stuff that actually happened. So we can see we are just going up. We had a lot of success with all those teams. And then it came to 2000, oh, sorry, just going to it, here we go. Then came 2021 and we had a dip. So let's talk a little bit about the dip. So first of all, we were successful with the bubble. So within those teams that we built with this specific culture and everything was working. But our organization delivery organization was much larger than that. So in 2021, we decided, okay, let's merge all these groups together with a more traditional approach and an agile approach and actually start working together. Okay, then the other one was, well, larger group, we need to implement scaled agile framework across larger groups right now. We also have to have common program increment planning. And for those of you who don't know, SAFe scaled agile framework, that every 10 weeks, every 5 sprints, there is one large planning session in one large room where we get everybody to that particular room, and at every wall there are different boards that teams plan. When they identify dependencies between the teams, they can cross the floor and they can talk and collaborate together. But not everybody was actually delivering exactly the same way, right? So agile teams are delivering in their short iterations, but we got also vendors. And vendors are not necessarily agile. We cannot force them to deliver something in exactly the same way as we do, because that's a potential recipe for disaster. So this was definitely another challenge that we have. But with the moment, we had actually pretty interesting things that we are also able, during this time, we were able to deliver, which was like lean portfolio, we were able to implement. And the big one were organization, not only IT now, the entire organization, the business, started actually changing as well. We had the first participatory budgeting. So participatory budgeting was where the business people got together from different divisions, and they were told, that's your pool of money, and they had a monopoly money, okay? So that's your pool of money, and you decide which projects need to be done. So they had to actually trade horses. They had to convince each other. It was great to see when they actually started talking. And the best thing when I was watching was when people from different divisions, which I was expecting they are going to protect their own budget, they actually were funding someone else. They said, you know, your project's actually more important. So I'm actually going to give my money to you. That's what happened. So this was like, wow, we are really getting somewhere with this, right? So what challenges we faced in 2021 or during 21 until 2023? So first of all, there was a much larger group. It requires more coordination. We had 2 directors because we were really large, and it was not clear which director is responsible for what. We also need to merge cultures. Again, that's not as simple and easy. We are still siloed. We are still project focused, not product. Projects are a very short period of time, relatively, compared with the product. We had a mixture of stable and ad hoc teams, and we had a complicated structure. It was difficult to prioritize, and obviously, like in many other organizations, everything is priority 1. Sorry, go back. So, what we decided to do is, well, we need to change. We need to actually, in early 2023, we decided we need to reorganize to simplify it. So the very first thing was, I'm not going to read everything here, but these are the guiding principles for us. So first of all, we want to optimize for the flow of delivery. We want to simplify our structure to have only three major areas, which is delivery stream, working directly with our stakeholders, our platforms, our infrastructure and systems, and also enabling services. And I'm going to show in a moment how it looks like today. We want to have a stable teams that actually the work moves to them. We don't rebuild the teams because it caused a problem. Rebuilding the teams, the cohesion is lost, which is a big issue. The other thing is we want to have a cross-functional teams and end-to-end. In other words, the teams should have everything that they need to deliver to production. We wanted to empower the teams to provide autonomy, mastery, and flow. We also gave the opportunity for the teams to have inner topologies, and obviously everything is all about reduction of number of silos that we have. So this is how we look like today. So there are four major areas here. The first one on the top, the blue one, is what is the delivery side. And in delivery, we've got ART, which for those who don't know SAFe, ART is an agile release train. So it's like a large program that contains multiple teams. In each ART, there is a multiple team sitting, but they are working towards the same goal. Then at the bottom, the green one is a platform teams. So these are again infrastructure teams, security as well, obviously, and DBAs and so on. And then the orange one is the glue between these two. So these are the teams like solution architecture, like common engineering, like FinOps, and so on. They provide the glue between these two and provide the governance and best practices and automation. And the fourth one was a solution train. Sometimes, from time to time, we require a temporary structure where we will have teams from the blue section and from the green one to deliver something specific, and then when they complete, they actually disband. So everything is permanent except solution trains. So here's an example of one of the ARTs, agile release trains. So you can see it consists of multiple pods working together and planning together. But what we introduced here as well is this part, which is ART leadership, consisting of the product manager, release train engineer, people development manager, and solution architect. So they provide like a direction. And then on the other side, we had here cross-border resources. So we've got like a cloud system engineers, we've got the DBA, we've got the UX, and we've got the release lead. And then we've got also product SRE, extremely important to support these teams. But if you look at the structure, this is like a startup. They've got everything that they need to deliver, and that was the idea, including the direction provided by the product manager. So that's where we are today. So, just want to mention about this book. So we implemented our model in September 2023. On November 21st, Jen Kim, and for those who don't know him, he's a guru in DevOps world. He's the author of Phoenix Project and DevOps Handbook. So he published actually this book on the 21st of November, so it was about 2 months after we went live. And in December, when I was on vacation, I grabbed the book and I started actually reading it. And I was just looking at this, oh my God, this is exactly what we did. Like everything that what he describes is exact, and we were ahead of time, right? Like, wow, this is really great. So anyway, the bottom line is that we are on the right track at this point. And in summary, what I just want to say, what is really the key elements that are really important, especially for us, but I presume for any other organization. The first one is the culture. So building the culture, building a curiosity, making sure that people ask questions, continuously asking questions why we're doing this. Like those, when we had this bubble, when we hired those new people, they exactly what they were asking, why we're doing it like this. So we should never stop asking those questions. Persistence, we're going to always have pushback, but like with the hackathon, we need to actually push forward. Courage to make things, to change things, and believe that you can actually do that. Empowerment, clarity, focus on your goals, focus on solutions, and constantly experiment. As a matter of fact, growth is based on failure, and failure is okay. Thank you. So our second presentation will be done by our friends here, and William, I'm going to hand over to you.
Oh, the clicker. Thank you. Welcome everyone. And thank you for coming to this meetup. It's great to see this huge audience. And welcome to WorkSafe Software Engineering. And I can actually use the clicker, and I'll actually move over here because Andre usually kind of park that side of the room, so I'll try this side. But I'm Willie Shaw. I'm the IT manager of Common Engineering Group. It's a group of really phenomenal engineers. And I'm also really privileged at WorkSafeBC to continuously dream about how we can empower the engineers and unite them with our processes and products to continuously deliver value to delighted end users, which, Andre, is my favorite definition of DevOps. What I want to do is just take you through our engineering pillars, kind of what's important to us, and then I'll just give you a few highlights of what we think was great last year, and a peek into what we will be doing this year, and then I will be handing over to Kevin and Martin to give you kind of a wrap-up on security. Well, not a wrap-up, it's a really deep dive in security, and also knowledge management. So what is important for us? I mean, what's part of our DNA? And it's really about collaboration, it's consistency, it's standardization, simplicity is a big one, and of course, Kevin, security. We favor automation over manual processes, so everything we do is automated. We favor quality over complex solution, which goes back to the simplicity. We really don't like complex. And we empower through innovation. So that's really what makes up our DNA, at least in common engineering. So what do we think went well last year based on this DNA? Well, first of all, we automated our configuration as code, and you'll see everything is as code. So we use Azure DevOps, It's similar to GitHub, but we use Azure DevOps for our ISDLC. So we've actually automated configuration as code to allow us to, with a click of a button, reconfigure thousands of pipelines. Something you do not want to do manually. It's mind-numbing. We also built a privilege management system, which is kind of the poor man's PIM for Azure DevOps. Again, it's automated. We have CI/CD as code, and this is, I think, where we demonstrated real value, and we still have to excite all our engineers, because with our paved roads, as we call them, they can literally click a button and it will create an Azure repo for them, an Azure pipeline for them. It will inject a working sample into their repo and queue the pipeline to make sure everything works within 30 seconds. So that was our challenge, get it all done within 30 seconds and consistently, and we can only do that through automation. We also demonstrated how we could integrate infrastructure as code into our CI/CD pipelines. And as I mentioned, everything is as code, so everything lives in the repositories and everything is version controlled. And self-service is the foundation. So this is something we started last year, is let's enable self-service. So that was last year. So what are we looking at this year? If you know Azure DevOps, you would know that there are two types of CI/CD pipelines, classic and YAML-based. Well, our aim is by the end of this year is we will deprecate all our classic release pipelines and build pipelines, which again should surprise you. There's 2,500 of them in our organization. It's not a small feat, but again, we want to get rid of them because they are really expensive to maintain. And we want to implement the self-service based CI/CD based on blueprints, which again is what we call paved roads. So what we're saying to all our engineers is, use a paved road which is based on architecture, infrastructure, and CI/CD blueprints. It makes life so much easier, it's simple, and it's consistent. And what we want to empower the delivery teams, or the pods that Andre referred to, is we want to enable them to have 100% continuous and automated testing. And the other big one which we have on our ambitious plan is we want to empower teams to have zero end-of-life technical debt. And for those that use products like Angular or .NET, you will know that they go out of life over time. So you're continuously chasing your upgrades to make sure that you don't have end-of-life software or that you don't get caught. And this is what we're working on. We want to be proactive. And for that, we will be using generative AI, including GitHub's Copilot for business and enterprise, and also the Azure OpenAI. So we want to use AI to help us become proactive. So for example, to detect end of life before it is end of life, and also guide the engineers to be proactive, not reactive. And with that, this was a quick whirlwind tour of where we came from, where we go to, and when we have a chat outside, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll hand over to what I believe is the biggest security engineer I have ever met.
In spirit, in ego.
All right, hello. There we go. Okay. So this is Back to the Future 2, by the way, flying cars and the fusion reactor you put bananas into, not the first one. So, hi, I'm Kevin. I've worked in security for about 13 years now, and I've been able to expand my career from like firewalls and network and servers and virtual machines into modern stuff, cloud stuff, containers, and this modern development thing. I'm just gonna put this here because I'm very loud, this is easier. So, one of the big things that, oh, come on. There we go. So DevSecOps is this new concept, which was very new to me. And what this really is not a fix-all futuristic solution that's going to address your software development security, your developers. It's not gonna make things magical on its own. What it really is an integration of security into the DevOps process. And this is something that is not We won't come in after the fact and make things secure after you do your fancy development in QA. This is about everything from the ground up. This is about having security in your design, your architecture, all the way through to your testing, everything, every layer. I keep hitting the wrong button. There we go. So we have a lot of problems right now in the DevSecOps world. Now, one of the biggest things is resources. We don't have enough people. We cannot get enough people. I don't have the current stats, but there's something like a 1 million job shortage in security in North America alone by 2030. If anyone looks for a job in security, talk to me after. I'm not going to hire you, I'm going to guide you. We're constantly fighting legacy problems, and this is legacy software, it's legacy culture, it's legacy mindsets, legacy companies. Unless you're working for a brand new startup, even if you're working for a brand new startup, everyone's going to use what they already know. They're going to do business how they already know. They're going to build software how they already know. And this is natural because it's very hard to keep up with new technologies. As mentioned, we use Angular as a framework in which there's a new major version every 6 months that requires a rewrite of your code base. Come on, JavaScript. Anyways. Kind of leading into what was said by Willie here is that we have a lack of standardization everywhere. And when you have so many different languages, so many different programs, you have to standardize or you're never going to be able to get anything done. The human factor is a key part of this. At the end of the day, we're all people. We get tired, we make mistakes, we work hard, we burn out, we invent new things, whatever it is, everything's human-based. Humans are not code. So what is the result of all this? My favorite pictures on the internet, traffic jams. Everything will grind to a halt, everything gets mixed up, people drive into each other, people driving a white BMW cut you off on the highway. I'm sorry to anyone who drives a white BMW here. And it gets very confusing and messy and busy and no one knows what's going on anymore and it doesn't seem there's any kind of solution here. So the solution here, as I'm going to do now, is that we want to blueprint things and turn into an assembly line. We want to make things automatic. We want to make things, take the human factor out of this, despite the fact we're all humans. And we want to make things as something that you can standardize and repeat over and over again. AI is the big thing nowadays. We're looking at GitHub Copilot, things like that. Please note I put in quotation marks because there's no such thing as AI. It's machine learning and large language models. You get out what you put in. Because if you use something like ChatGPT to generate an image like this, it looks wonderful, very like utopia. Although funny enough, always look for how many fingers people have in AI images. It's always going to be more than you should have. It's also this. Most security people think that AI or any kind of automation in a sense is bad. Great movie, by the way, see these if you haven't seen it. So you're going to see things when you feed into Copilot, ChatGPT, that are not going to be correct. And you can't assume that these things are going to help you in any way unless you verify the results. For example, you ask ChatGPT to tell you a lie. And it's going to say everyone likes you all the time, which is a lie. It's going to insult you. You can train it to do that. So you can also give it coding questions and it'll be flat out wrong. So we have to remember too that like AI is not going to solve the human problems that we've created as a part of these processes. This is a great one. You can actually tell it how, you can teach it how to tell you how to make a Molotov cocktail and break the law. Anyways, don't trust ChatGPT is what I'm saying here. So, most importantly, we have to have consistency and standardization in these CI/CD processes that you repeat. You cannot repeat your process if you don't have a process. You can't call it that. Why did those appear in the wrong order? Okay. I'm going to blame AI for this one. That's why the process has to be the #1 priority in everything you do. Because if you do not have that, you need to do it first before you get into your development, before you get into anything else. And you do this by creating these blueprints, these templates, these standardized starting points that let you do the same thing every time. Computers are only good at some things. Such as the human factor we have here. So how many of you have heard of Nexus? Probably most people here. Okay, so in real life, people who don't, it's a trust-based program that lets you skip the line at a border crossing. Basically, the border agencies on both sides determine if you pose a risk. They look at your background, your history, all your shopping purchases, the times you went across the border with clothes and didn't tell them. They're watching you, they know everything. They look at what kind of threat you might be, and if you behave, you can just go on through. If you follow the program, you're good. If you mess up, they come after you. So I took this idea and applied this to security in this templated CI/CD environment in a very standardized way. Everyone has a grade. Can you be trusted? Have you screwed up before? Have you snuck closing gas across the border, or have you behaved in a software sense? And if you do well, then you get to skip the line. You get to zoom on ahead. You have built this trust up, and you can keep going. If you don't, you have manual oversight. You get to go through security reviews. You get to be scrutinized, yelled at in public, things like that. The worst case of all this is where we are right now, which is having to maintain this high level of security oversight in software and products. And the best case is that we go onto this new happy path where everything is better and happier. Thank you.
I'm going to go back to the mic.
Hello? I'm going,
Not that one.
this one?
They both work.
Both. I know, I'm just trying to make sure we get one that doesn't make so much noise. All right, now this is going to be a bit tricky. I'm managing my cue cards at the same time, and I don't know which one I'll come over this side. Just keep it moving. All right. Thanks, Kevin, Willie, for the great lead up to the topic that is my passion, that fuels my passion, and it's built for both personal and business growth, and that's of knowledge enhancement. So welcome to my portion of today's presentation. I'm Martin Lacey. I'm the software engineering practice lead here at WorkSafeBC. I'm a very passionate software engineer, watched and engaged in this discipline as it has morphed over 4 decades. I see this year unfolding like a paradigm shift of before, but we have much more interesting things to cover. In fact, this paradigm shift will be more of a revolution than an evolution, and exciting to have an impact like no other. Let's see if I can get this one right. Bingo, awesome. So, as Willie mentioned, we've been pushing towards GitHub Copilot for business and enterprise, providing developers with a digital peer programmer to help them move faster and more precisely without getting lost in context switching, searching, and filtering. So let's cover some of the details. And you guys can see what's on our menu for 2024. We've completed round 1 evaluation of GitHub Copilot for business and enterprise, actually just for business. We're going to get the enterprise version soon. And we've provided developers with a digital peer programmer to help them move faster and more precisely without getting lost in context switching. So let's, I just jumped. No, sorry about that. We've completed round 1 evaluation of GitHub Copilot for business, which promised a 30% productivity boost, which we can reinvest to reduce our technical debt and focus on our continuous learning and experimentation efforts. You'll notice on the graph here, or on the chart, the evaluation percentages are close to what GitHub, Copilot, and Microsoft had been touting. Ours are the orange numbers on the right-hand side. And you can see we're pretty well matching them. In some cases, we're even getting a little bit better with less frustrating when coding. And our first round was with some of the more senior developers at WorkSafeBC. So once we've gone through this round, as you can see, we're seeing a boost of productivity at 30% and an acceptance rate at 32%. And acceptance rate, and that's the provided solutions from GitHub Copilot. So that's when the first response from GitHub Copilot is given and it's selected as a choice. That happens 32% of the time. So that's actually pretty phenomenal for a tool that's actually generating assistance in our coding developer work. But this is just the beginning of our AI adventure. We've been working behind the scenes on multiple fronts, preparing for our aggressive expansion into the space, with our focus being knowledge enhancements for our engineering teams. So next, And soon, we will be leveraging Stack Overflow Enterprise Productivity early in the new year. We'll be rolling it out in a private tenant for exclusive use by our engineering teams to collaborate and work together to find and record the best solutions for every nagging problem. To never reinvent the same wheel, but enable re-envisioning and reimagining to create innovative solutions going forward. It will be in a private and secure tenant, consuming our trusted content such as wikis, guardrails, design documents, blueprints, and integrating seamlessly with our Microsoft Teams and our development environments. And of course, Stack Overflow, as no slouch, will be exploring their new AI capabilities as well to improve the knowledge found and shared, and providing summaries and inspiring additional insights. Complementing and extending our use of Stack Overflow, we'll be using OpenAI in collaboration with Microsoft on a proof of concept project called our AI Software Sentinel. Its purpose will be to analyze how we can reduce mean time to recovery for our critical and high importance applications. Our teams are looking at the very large data sets and how we can leverage those in support of our field service engineers, giving them tools to prepare and analyze for their site inspections. We are exploring large language models, Whisper for speech recognition, and the generative AI tools such as ChatGPT, and even creating our very own implementation for our engineers. I think that's the slide. We will also be leveraging Microsoft OpenAI for improved efficiency and faster engineering onboarding and ongoing engineering productivity this year. Introducing the ARC Navigator, a WorkSafeBC specific software engineering co-pilot that understands and communicates our engineering guardrails, blueprints, best practices, patterns, and processes, as well as the existing designs and implementations. These comprehensive knowledge bases will be available within the various workflow environments used by our engineers, such as Stack Overflow, Microsoft Teams, and the preferred IDE. So they can remain in the flow and in the know, The clarity and efficiency of this new working paradigm will make more time available for innovation. And this is where we get to pull it all together, the knowledge sharing and growth. From this experience, we'll share and grow our capabilities to support other teams with even larger, more complex data sets and deep historical knowledge and insights from data engineering teams and their machine learning know-how. We will be able to work together to solve larger, more complex problems with a goal to improve the lives, health, and safety of workers and their families. We're also creating a SDLC product catalog. So that's going to be a searchable by teams and categories. It is an intuitive visual catalog representing the tools, processes, and products that are used in our software development lifecycle that would help our engineers quickly grasp the layers of our ecosystem and gain access to the components that are relevant to them. It is the starting point to search, installing, and learning the technology stacks applicable to their work at WorkSafeBC. Whether looking for the tools used by your team, folks in a similar role, or just browsing our complete set of development technologies we use to build our systems, this graphical tool will help you gain insights into our development environments. And lastly, pulling it all together, we are going to have the results of creating an engaging and informative SDLC product catalog guiding our engineers through the technology acquisition education paths here at WorkSafeBC, supported by artificial intelligence, linked to our knowledge base and the tools they use throughout their careers, enhancing the development skills and capabilities at each step of the journey. So here we're representing everything that's going on. We've got the DevSecOps with Nexus engineering weaving into our DNA. We're using GitHub Copilot to build our knowledge base within the development tools. From that, getting into our OpenAI to create our AI software Sentinel. The knowledge will go from that into building our Arc Navigator. And of course, we're using Stack Overflow to share our knowledge and keep this whole process rolling through and smoothly transitioning, getting everybody up to speed in our new technology base. So that's 2024 as I see it, as we're moving forward, and I hope you join us for this exciting adventure. Time's up. Yay.
Okay. Hello? Okay, great. And I am next, so very timely. Give me 1 second. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Quick show of hands. How many of you get very excited when it comes to Friday? TGIF. All right, quite a few of you, and some probably don't, but that's okay. And how many of you get very excited when it comes to Monday? Woo! Woo! Or a Tuesday, as today is a Tuesday. Okay, not as many people. And that's okay. But what is it that excites us about Friday, ending the weekday, so that we can start our weekend? It'll be family, friends, social activities. But what is it that excites those who raise their hand for a Monday or a Tuesday? What is it that excites us to come and start our work day or a work week? Is it the power of unleashing creativity, achieving goals? Whatever it may be. So how can we evoke that same kind of emotion when we are working at WorkSafeBC? So I'm Sigita Ben. I'm an Agile coach at WorkSafe. And I'm here to show what excites us at WorkSafeBC. And what I'm going to show you next is a short clip from our star developer, who I've had the pleasure of working with.
My name is Julian Mays. I'm a developer at WorkSafeBC. I've worked in coding business software applications for about 20 years now. I used to work in summers at universities at various mills on the island, and people would get injured, so I know the value that WorkSafe provides. We're working on an agile team, so we have a typical Scrum meeting in the morning. We go through what we've been working on, if we've got any blockers. For the application that we're working on right now to help the call center, it reduces call times. That not only helps our WorkSafe employees working on the call, but also the workers probably have a better experience. The best thing about working here is the whole continuous integration and continuous delivery process. We're using DevOps, Azure cloud technologies, a lot of really great new technologies. It really is a fantastic place to work.
Thank you. And it really is a fantastic place to work. And I realize I don't have 3 arms, unless if I was AI, I would. I could use all 3 things, so I'm going to stand right here. So this video is just a short, one of the reasons why I get excited to come into work on a Monday or a Tuesday or a weekday. And I also like my Friday, don't get me wrong, but this is what excites me on the weekday. Because at WorkSafeBC, we're not just a workplace. We're a vibrant community that values growth. Inspired by Henry Ford's wisdom, we prioritize people, fostering trust, transparency, and psychological safety in our daily culture. These values fuel our enthusiasm for work. Now let's explore the culture's evolution. As we explore our DevOps culture, think of it as an evolution, much like the species adapting to its environment. DevOps is not merely just about tools and technology, as we've heard before from our previous speakers. It's a cultural transformation. The WorkSafeBC DevOps culture has organically evolved as teams learn, adapt, and integrate their new practices. It champions learning, fosters collaboration, and cultivates shared leadership. Our culture isn't static. It's a living, breathing entity that shapes us and is shaped by our experiences. And as our culture evolved, so did our team dynamics. Now let's take a closer look at our DevOps journey at WorkSafe. So you've seen this graph before when Andre mentioned it. And this graph represents, from its inception 2016, up to the remarkable milestone of our 100th iteration in Feb 2021. As you can see, this graph is more than just data points. It tells a story of the exponential growth, a testament to the incredible strides we've taken. From the initial days of DevOps introduction, we've achieved milestones such as the first production and deployment during office hours, as Andre also mentioned, the first dark launch, and the teams delivering multiple releases within one single iteration. Automated testing also saw a substantial increase, showcasing our commitment to efficiency and excellence, as Willie, Kevin, and Martin pointed out earlier. Now let this visual journey illustrate the evolution of our DevOps culture at WorkSafeBC. And here's evolution in action. Take a glimpse at this visual narrative of our realignment that went go live in 2023. This strategic shift marks a pivotal moment in our journey towards a more evolved, transparent, and collaborative DevOps culture. And just as nature adapts to thrive, our organization is evolving to break down silos and become truly transformative DevOps environment. And as I mentioned earlier, the essence of DevOps lies not only in the lines of code, but in the cultural DNA of our teams. You may recognize this guy over here. That's our inspiring director, Andre Kaminski, and he is the driving force behind our first organizational successful hackathon in 2019. This is, I mentioned, organization-wide. His beaming smile in this picture reflects the passion that made this event possible. With this powerful quote displayed behind him in this image, "Together we awaken creativity and build confidence by trying new things." His leadership has not only ignited innovation, but has set the stage for culture of collaboration within WorkSafeBC. A dynamic day with passionate teams channeled creativity into captivating projects and presentation and kept everyone spellbound at that event. And as part of our innovation and growth, this event is actually now running for the past 6 years, from departmental to corporate level now, and did not stop even when we went virtual. And we even rebranded from Hackathon to InnoFest, because it is a festival of innovation, and it is fun. So which festival doesn't have fun, right? And we tried to inject as much fun and collaboration as we went remote as well. As you can see during our program increment planning that we do every 10 weeks, we tried to put some fun contests in there. And we got to see some people, their family, their friends, and their pets as well. And here's a snapshot from our dynamic team building event fostering camaraderie and highlighting our organization's teamwork spirit. And after exploring our team dynamics and cultural journey, I'm excited to hand over the mic to Daniel Koch and Ivana Illich from the People Development team. They've been instrumental in shaping our organizational DNA. Daniel, over to you to unravel the DNA.
Thank you, Sangeeta, and pleasure to be here this evening. Hope everyone's doing well, and glad to see all these faces here. So to continue, we often hear about putting people first. Here's the saying, people make the world go round. Agile principles. Build projects around motivated individuals, self-organized teams. But what does it actually mean to put people first into practice? As part of our WorkSafe DevOps culture, we created structure that supported a different model, where we could fully support the people and the teams that make the work happen. So my name is Daniel Clark, I'm a People Development Manager. I work with Ivana and Jason as well. In this role, we also have Allison, who's not here with us tonight, but she's also helping support us at WorkSafe. And the four of us make one team. And I'm going to click, and I'm going to click here. So, there we go. So we implemented a flat structure with the People Development Manager role to promote servant leadership. We encourage shared leadership and decentralized decision making. Our goal as a PDM is to have happy and engaged team members who delight our customers. We wanted people to love their role and the work that you do, and we wanted for you to achieve your best and to make our customers love the service that they were receiving. We facilitate growth through development conversations, celebrate achievements, and offer support during challenges. Regular one-on-ones and open communication ensures that we're always accessible. And I wanted to give just a different view of the PDM role. Let's imagine for a moment, you're looking for a new opportunity. You're wanting a new start, a new challenge at a new company. So from the time that you walk in for that interview, you meet another person, and then they'll be there to walk that journey with you from beginning to end, and we call that from hire to retire. That person with you is to support you through the onboarding and all that you do during your tenure with us. And that person is the PDM. We're not in every single interview, but there's a lot of roles that we are part of, and that makes up a big portion of part of our work. But when we do, as someone where the PDM is supporting you, you are the focus of our conversations. And that's how we put people first. We build a strong individual relationship with you, and so that we can truly collaborate together in a safe and confidential space. We encourage you to be in the driver's seat and support your development and goal setting. And it's important to recognize that the organization, the work, and the people are all organic. It's changing over time. We need to continuously learn, reflect, and adapt. Outside of our individual conversations, the PDMs maintain a good awareness of our DevOps landscape. We keep with the business strategy, the direction, the roadmap, engineering approaches and improvements to ways of working and delivering business value to our customers. We're here to provide support to all the emergent leaders, from taking initiatives to ideation to completion. And as mentioned earlier, Ivan and I focus on specific business areas and the people involved within the various arts. Building strong relationships, that's part of who we are. We collaborate, we work with other people, and it requires us a key fundamental piece. It's right there and there, trust. There are many ways to build trust. One of the great books out there is by Stephen Covey, The Speed of Trust, and it talks about trust. It's very practical, right? It talks about trust, for example, based on results, what we've done in the past, and we can build trust on that. Or we could build trust based on capabilities of a person. I think when you go to see your doctor, you trust your doctor on what he has to say. You don't really have a second guessing, but it may be worth to have a second opinion sometimes. But another way to build trust is to be vulnerable. For myself personally, this was a journey that I experienced over the course of about a decade. Having leadership training, developing the skills, building self-awareness, I came to realize that a lot of my workplace fears and biases were heavily circled around low trust relationships. And at the time, I had a short-term executive coach, and she recommended a book to me by Daniel Coyle called Culture Code. And it's an easy and practical read, and from that I garnered sort of 5 very practical steps that I think everyone can take away when thinking about building relationships. Point number 1 is to be transparent. Leave no room for second guessing or ulterior motives. It's okay to say when you can't be transparent. I fully understand that we can't be fully transparent in everything that we do, but by letting people know, that helps others to people feel like you have nothing to hide. Be real and genuine. Be yourself. Bring your true self forward. Don't pretend to be someone you're not, and don't hold yourself to unreal expectations. I think a common word we may hear, we may feel sometimes, is imposter syndrome. And sometimes it's like, well, I've got to put up a certain front or a certain persona because that's what I'm hired here to do. I need to act in a certain way. But I think that puts a lot of undue stress on ourselves. And then we look down or feel hard on ourselves because we're not meeting up to that standard that we put ourselves to. Reveal weaknesses and stretches. We're all human. We have a tendency to do the opposite, right? We want to hide those weaknesses, but I think as Andre mentioned, it's okay to fail. We want to fail fast in the DevOps perspective, and we want to learn from where we've made those mistakes and how we can improve upon it in the future, right? We have to be fallible. We want to practice, admit our mistakes, and continue to learn and grow. And by doing so, it's these similarities that bring us together because we get to feel that we're more alike in certain ways than disalike. And one way to do that is to ask for feedback, guidance, and support. Andreas mentioned courage. Courage is a big thing. It does take a lot of courage to be vulnerable. But if you can take the first step, put out your hand, and share something that goes a bit deeper than what you might say when you have a hi and bye. How's the weather? Oh, it's good, it snowed last week. Well, what's something that you could share a little bit deeper about yourself? I like to use the metaphor of an onion. Not what you see on the outside. When you peel away the onion, you see what's really on the inside. So try to put those what if statements aside. There's a lot of what ifs. We stop doing a lot of things in the world because you're going to have what if this happens, what if that happens. Just stop it. Just mix it completely. And lastly, none of this can happen without a safe environment. Right. So, a few more things here. We need a safe environment. Share your expectations. Be open about what your needs and wants are, and likewise, corollary, understand other people's needs and wants. Create a working agreement. It's one way to get these things out in the open. Right? Have a bit of an informal contract between people so that things are already discussed up front before things really start to happen and have that stress build up. And lastly, Vegas rule, code of silence. Right? Everything should happen in a safe space so that we can freely express how we feel. Right? Because a lot of conversations that we have are between two people or with small groups. Right? And establishing that as a baseline. Knowing that there's a sense of that trust will really go a long way. So fundamentally, trust, transparency, and psychological safety are all important pieces that help build relationships. And thank you, and now I pass it over to you.
Okay, maybe I'll be able to somehow manage three things here. It works. Okay, thank you, Daniel. So, as demonstrated by my colleagues here, our organization thrives on the strength of our cross-functional teams, which are key to fostering innovation. By bringing together team members from diverse backgrounds, we enrich our perspectives and enhance our decision-making process. We prioritize hiring individuals who embody a growth mindset and possess a strong aptitude towards continuous learning. This is because we firmly believe in the power of learning, which is deeply ingrained in the DNA of our organizational culture. We believe that through dedication, hard work, and continuous learning, one's abilities and intelligence can be significantly developed and expanded. So, I have a question for the audience now. What do you guys think? Why the growth mindset is important? Anyone? Want to give it a try? Yes?
Right now, change is the normal, so you need to adapt to new circumstances and now, for instance, AI, to be ahead of the crowd.
You need to adapt, and you need to adopt to new changes, what's happening in the environment. Anybody else? Keeps you young. I like that one. Anybody else from this side that you guys want to try? Very quiet. So anyways, it encourages continuous learning and skill development. It promotes creativity and innovation But most importantly, it fosters the resilience in the face of the failure. In our organization, we value continuous learning as a way to adapt to change and to drive innovation. We are committed to fostering professional growth by providing a myriad of opportunities tailored to our employees' interests and passions. And obviously we have some banging sounds here, so excitement goes up. One such initiative in our organization is a year-long in-training program, which is specifically designed for our internal employees aspiring to roles in DevOps, but lacking the full qualifications. The program's primary objective is to equip successful applicants to be fully competent in these roles by the end of the training period. The learning experience, however, is not only confined to the classroom and virtual environment, but it also extends to practical on-the-job training where participants receive support and guidance from their mentors and PDMs. In addition to our in-training program, we offer a diverse range of internal training opportunities, such as organized presentations by our team members or guest speakers during our +1 iteration. We also have informative lunch and learn sessions. And we have specialized dojos focusing on particular topic and allowing team members to gradually learn while being awarded colored belts for their effort. Some of the recent dojos that we have were in the area of test-driven development, as well as PowerShell scripting. We also have implemented innovative learning initiatives such as corporate-wide Power Platform Challenge, where for over a week, every day we had a challenge, and teams across the organization have tried their skills and learned the skills in Power Platform. In addition to that, we offer an access to a variety of online learning platforms for self-paced learning, such as Microsoft Learn. Also, access to LinkedIn is available through your public libraries. On the corporate level, we also have professional development offerings in many areas, from our Learning and Development Services Department, leadership development program for our young leaders, and higher education via tuition reimbursement program. So we give these offerings, but why do we do all that? What are the benefits of continuous learning? Anyone?
Keep up with changing technology.
Keep up with the change in technology. Anybody else?
Innovation.
Innovation, yes. We keep our skills relevant and up to date, and it increases job satisfaction and motivation, but also fosters a culture of innovation and adaptability. So, to just kind of summarize this section, a growth mindset and continuous learning are key to our organization's success. By embracing these principles, we can foster a culture of innovation, resilience, and continuous improvement. Another thing that is really ingrained in the DNA of our culture is celebration of our achievements. Recognizing and celebrating success is not only about feeling good and reaching the end goal. A lot of it is about the journey, the progress, the learning, and collaboration that we made along the way. Recognizing these achievements, whether they are big or small, reinforces the actions and behaviors that we value the most. And it fosters a culture of positivity, motivation, and continuous improvement. So when I joined the organization, we instituted the ICE Awards. And so this was a platform where our esteemed colleagues had the opportunity to nominate their team members for their exceptional contributions in the area of innovation, collaboration, and excellence. They had the opportunity to really shine a spotlight on the individuals and teams who have gone above and beyond in their roles, driving innovation, fostering collaboration, and striving for excellence. Later, the ICE Awards transformed to our departmental shout-out portal, which together with the organizational-wide Kudos portal, provide us all with the opportunity to express the gratitude and appreciation for the work that our colleagues have done. As you all know, a simple thank you, job well done, really can go a long way in making someone's day and boosting their motivation. The speed recognition is not only for boosting the morale, but also for promoting a culture of appreciation and respect for each other's effort. Celebrating each other's achievements create a positive, appreciative, and engaging work environment. So here, if you look at the human DNA, you can observe resemblance between its structure and the framework of DevOps culture. As we went through the world of DevOps at WorkSafe, we are not just focused on technicalities. We appreciated this transformative cultural journey where every line of code is a brushstroke on the canvas of innovation, and every collaborative effort is a step forward in the evolution of excellence. In conclusion, I invite each one of you to explore the transformative potential of DevOps culture in your organization. Consider how you can revolutionize it in your workplace, fostering innovation and excellence. And with that, I open the floor for discussion and any questions you may have. I just want you to remember that no question is too small or too big, and every opinion matters. So let's just dig deeper into this journey together. Thank you again for your attention and participation. And please don't forget that after Q&A session, we'll still have a networking event, so stick around with us. Thank you.
So do you have any questions to any of the speakers today? We did not have a question section after the presentation, but here's the opportunity to ask these questions. Or, as a matter of fact, if there is anything else you would like to discuss, you are welcome actually here to the front.
And we can actually talk about those topics. Anything you would like to share? Anything you'd like to ask? Oh, here you go. Okay, sorry.
When are the devs getting GitHub Copilot?
There's three things that you have to do, right? So you have to.
There's
whoa. Don't stand.
there's tutorial online on SharePoint. There's a technical blog which walks you through all the process, and then there's a quiz that you have to pass. So once you do those 3 steps, and then go on to ServiceNow, make a request to join the 80 group, the GitHub Copilot 80 group, and I don't remember exactly what it is, but there's an 80 group specific for GitHub Copilot. So per ServiceNow request in to join that group, and then when the licenses are available, they'll just start to be handed out to those that have passed those particular requirements.
How hard is the quiz?
Really, really easy. But you do have to read the technical blog, because there's some aspects to setting up GitHub Copilot. It's not complex, but it's subtle. So if you don't do it just right, you won't have GitHub Copilot for business. You'll have regular GitHub Copilot, and we want to make sure that you're using the GitHub Copilot for business, because that will protect all the information that you put into it. It won't be pushed all the way out to GitHub. It'll stay within our domain. So it's very important that you get the right version, and therefore